Chip Whitley here, and I'm now wearing a bow tie. I didn't want to be like in character for this. I wanted to. It's been a few days since Robin Williams passed, and it's taken me that long to kind of process, what's been going on, lately, especially with him and everything. There's other things, but just a few thoughts about him. He was just an insanely amazing, gifted comedian, and, stuff like that affects a lot of people. I'm sure that I can't lie and say I haven't had those kind of thoughts before. I have thought of, the fact that, now I don't know if it's depression or anything like that, but there have been times where I've thought, maybe the world would be better off if I wasn't here, or maybe people would be better off, if I never existed or whatever. That type of stuff. And, I can't lie and say I haven't actually thought about it. But, I think the distractions that I put on myself, not just because of the show or because of anything else, doing these traveling trips I take, I think a lot of that looking forward to stuff actually distracts me from doing anything about it. And, I can't speak from his experience. I can speak from my own in saying that, people can tell you how awesome you are, or how good you are, and stuff like that, but when you're in that mindset, when you are in the set of not liking yourself, you tend to think that people are just trying to be nice. That, that's not true. I mean, why would they say that? They're just trying to be nice. They're just trying to be a nice person and, try to lift you up and stuff like that. And, that's just how it is. It sucks, and it's almost like you're in this crazy bubble that, of hatred towards yourself that you cannot break out of in any way. And I don't know, you can try therapy, you can try drugs. I haven't tried any of them because, those commercials, this may cause your depression to worsen. Well, it doesn't frickin' work, then does it? Anyways, that's not the point. But with the way that he, that depression and, with his, issues with substance abuse and alcoholism and the things that he had in his past, I'm sure didn't help any. And it might have caused it to worsen. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But it certainly wasn't in his mindset. I don't think he thought it was selfish. I think he thought it was more, a selfless act in his mind. Because I've heard people, since this has happened, say that they aren't thinking of themselves, that they're thinking of, that other people would be happier if he wasn't around. And as far as him, it wasn't true. The world was way better with a guy like him in it. I mean, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have, the insanely great movies, I'm a student of comedy. I am a huge fan of comedy, and if you go to the school of comedy, there's at least 2 or 3 classes you gotta take. One is the, slow one-liner, like the Mitch Hedbergs, your Stephen Wrights, your Dimitri Martins. Then there's like the story comedians, or life experience comedians. Um, your Bill Engvalds, your Ron Whites, the people who tell a story, tell a life experience story in a comedic way. And then there's the insane, people like Jim Carrey, but at the top of that list, is Robin Williams. And that's, that's what you'll miss, The one thing that the thing that impressed me the most about him is how he could go from being that comedian that's just like all over the place and that does comedic movies to someone that does, very dramatic, very thought-provoking roles. I mean, he could go from being the DJ in Good Morning Vietnam and Popeye and all that, and the genie in Aladdin to being, the photo developer in 1 Hour Photo, or the professor in the guy in Good Will Hunting, or the professor in Dead Poets Society. He can just be all over the place as far as being an actor. And that's something, if you're a comedian, and I'm not, but I'm sure that if you were a comedian, that is what you strive to be. I mean, Jim Carrey has tried it. Adam Sandler has tried it. There have been so many different people who are in the realm of comedy who have tried to be a dramatic actor. And sometimes it works, sometimes it fails, but, they all tried to fill that, be in that role that Robin Williams had started. He was one of the first people I can think of, anyways, to be that guy, that could do that role. And, I'm such a nerd that I actually film, or, have VHS tapes of different comedy specials over the years that when Comedy Central, around the time they first started, they used to have all these blocks of comedy specials. I'm sure they still do with newer comedians, but they used to have these 1 hour specials with, like, Paula Poundstone and Louis Black, and, some of the Comedy Central Presents and stuff like that. And one of the ones that I taped was a Robin Williams special. I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head. I don't think it was Night at the Met, and I don't think it was The Night with Robin Williams. It might have been between there, but it might have been A Night with Robin Williams. I'll have to look back at it, but he actually did a bit where he said, "Let me bring you into the mind of a comedian," and he opened his head, and then he told a bad joke, and then he, or a joke that didn't work, and then he just has this little thing where it seems like his brain's like, okay, let's try this, and it just keeps going, and then all of a sudden, he just flips the crowd, like, what do you want from me anyways? And then, I think around the start where he just, like, randomly climbed the balcony and just started doing, the Hunchback from Notre Dame and stuff like that, and it was just, it was insane. And, I mean, he spanned generations with not only his acting and his comedy, and I very much doubt that he won't continue to bring generations of newer generations of people that same amount of happiness as, people of my generation have children, and the children have children. They'll watch stuff like Aladdin or Mrs. Doubtfire, and some people, when they get older, they'll watch things like Good Will Hunting or Dead Poets Society or things like that, and I'm sure they'll get a better appreciation, and I'm sure as we delve more into the psyche of Robin Williams, and we'll probably, hopefully, find more of a, not a cure for depression. I don't think there's really a cure because it's all mental. It's all just, like I said, you feel like you're in a bubble, and it just sucks. It just drains all the energy out of you, and you just don't want to do a dang thing, and people, tell you, like, just be happy, just smile, and all this other stuff, and you're like, oh, that depression's over, and it's just, I don't know, it sucks, but, rest in peace, Robin, and you were an inspiration to us, a lot of us people who want to get into comedy and want to get into other stuff, and it's a shame. I guess you answered the call when Orson called you up, so Nanu, goodbye for now.